Hello, everybody. Brian Engelman here with the New American Media. This is the Unhappy Hour here at the TNAM radio network. Thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to do another segment. We are still testing out software and equipment to get the show back on as normal, so we're doing it this way for now. You'll see me. You won't see Zach, but Zach is our guest. His name is Zak Baris. He's been on the program for about 5-6 years now. Talking Cleveland sports, former NBA consultant. Current NBA. What are you doing currently, Zach?
Currently very little. I used to do a lot more. I'm taking a back seat, but still very involved with a lot of people in the business, though.
So it was
but for now, I've taken a back seat.
A former scout with. We've talked about the
Right,
team now
right.
at this point.
Yeah, but let's just get into the show, though.
Good point. All right, so Zach, the Cavaliers played a very interesting game yesterday. We're down pretty big with LeBron having 4 fouls in the first half. And it was kind of dicey for a minute there. Tell us about what happened in the game where the Cavs took the 3-1 lead.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like, you go in there. Sunday night was the most depressing game I've been to since Game 6 of the – well, let me rephrase that. Game 4 of the NBA Finals was a terrible game last year. You just had that awful feeling. I'm walking out of the arena, and, I sit next to Kyrie's dad and his sister. This is a year ago when we lose Game 4. Goes to give me a hug goodbye. I give Asia a hug goodbye. I give Didrik a hug goodbye. And he goes, we'll see you for Game 6. And I go, oh, okay. I'm like thinking there's not going to be a Game 6. Well, and then Brett Brillmeyer, one of the assistant coaches, texts me. He goes, don't worry, we got this. And we're down 3-1, and I'm like sitting there going, "There's no way we have this."
So why were they so confident?
They just weren't. They just had the confidence, and I'm sitting there down and depressed after Game 4, going, "Great, another opportunity that we're not going to win the NBA Finals." I have to say, Game 4 was one of the most depressing Cleveland sports games in my life. Game 6 the year before was possibly the worst. I had to walk out of the arena before the game even ended because I was so depressed and I couldn't be there with all the stupid Warrior fans down below. I just couldn't. I didn't have it in me. I walked out of there with about 2 minutes left in the game when the Cavaliers almost made a comeback. I was sitting there on the concourse watching on the TVs. I'm about to walk out of the arena. I just couldn't. I just didn't have it in me because I knew they weren't. I just knew they weren't going to win. They were down by 11 points or something with 2 minutes left, and then JR started draining all the threes. And they came back and they only lost by a few points, but it was still too much. And I just couldn't handle it. I was also at Game 7 of the World Series last year, But I have to say, though, losing that game the other night was demoralizing. You're just sitting there going, great. LeBron looks so passive, something has to be wrong. Has to be. I've never seen LeBron just go take 13 shots in a game. And then you look at the first half of last night. He gets in foul trouble with some of the worst calls I've ever seen.
Some really bad calls, I'll give you that.
I'm sitting there going, oh, my God, they're going to lose this series. They're going to lose. And I said, if they lose tonight, they're going back to Boston. Granted, Cleveland's so much more talented than Boston is. I mean, I finally started thinking that in my head. And when I saw Kyrie start going off, when they got it within 8 points and, before halftime, and then it got back up to 10, I go, okay. Cavaliers play like that they did in the last 6 minutes of the second quarter, they're going to win this game. They're going to win it with ease. Just give Kyrie the ball every possession. And suddenly it's what they started doing, and then you're just like, okay, someone has to stop them. They've got 4 guys in the paint. They're literally leaving everyone else open. But no, Kyrie's just sitting there. It's the Kyrie Irving show. Just let him drive to the hoop. I mean, he was taking 3-4 guys in with him and draining every single shot. It was he's done that a few times. We witnessed it in Game 5 of the Finals last year. We witnessed that in the Spurs game 2 years ago in a regular season game where he put up 55. We've witnessed some nights where Kyrie Irving just puts up ridiculous numbers. I mean, when he's unstoppable, he's unstoppable. We've seen it. We've all seen that before. When Kyrie plays like that, the Cavaliers are unbeatable.
There's no way around it. It's
No, I mean, and it made me nervous because, LeBron's sitting there. He can't even play defense on Olynyk because he's got so many fouls.
Yeah.
And he said, why do you even have him in the game? Because all Boston's doing is they're literally giving whoever has the ball, whoever LeBron's guarding, give him the ball. LeBron can't guard him because if LeBron picks up that other foul for even touching him, can't even do anything. So at the offensive end, he was fine. At the defensive end, wasn't able to do anything. And I was surprised Lou put him in for the third quarter. I was very surprised about that. I was very surprised. He's like, if he picks up that fifth, we're done. But I said, with the way Kyrie's playing anyway, they're okay. However, I said, you can't risk keeping LeBron there, not having him for the fourth quarter. But, they chipped away. LeBron wasn't driving on purpose, in the third. And then towards the end in the fourth quarter, just like, wow, it went from Kyrie's show to LeBron's. And they were both unstoppable. Kyrie was the third, and LeBron was the fourth. It was a sight to see.
Yeah, you looked at the stat line, and you go, LeBron really had that much? Wow. 15 in the fourth.
The fourth quarter, he dominated.
Yeah. Like he can. At any single game, he can do it. Do you make out that LeBron was sick, which is why the game 3 was so weird?
Brian, I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like that in my life, being at a game and watching LeBron do that. I've never seen that before.
How many games have you seen LeBron play in your life, would you guess?
That I've been to? Over the last 3 seasons, during the regular season, I've been to at least... This year I didn't go to as many because I just needed to take some time off. But the first 2 seasons LeBron was back, I was at least at 25 of the home games, plus every single playoff game. The only playoff game I had missed was Game 5 of the 2015 conference semifinals. I was in Las Vegas for Game 5 against the Bulls. I was in Vegas for that game. That was the only game I had missed. I've been to every other game since.
And so you knew something was off. You've seen him play enough.
Game 1 of the Pacers series this year because I didn't feel like going.
Okay.
Just didn't matter to me. I just wasn't up to it that day. I was just having one of those days where I didn't care to go.
But you could tell something was off.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Something was clearly off. Didn't know what it was. He was turning over the ball. You could just tell it wasn't typical LeBron. Especially, I think he was coasting with us being up 21, with Kyrie and Love having such great games, and then it's just like, what's he doing here? Is he trying to lose? Is he trying to set a tone? Is he trying to send a message? And then people are going, oh, there's no way they're going to beat the Warriors. You know what? Last year, the Cavaliers lost 2 in a row to the Raptors, and they beat the Warriors in 7. What happens in this series, it is very difficult to go and win 12 games in a row, especially in the playoffs. You're not facing cakewalk teams. What bothered me yesterday is some ESPN on Sports Nation, which I don't normally watch. I was just flipping through channels yesterday afternoon while I was doing some work. And I see it, and they go, if the Cavs win this season, does their title have an asterisk next to it? And I go, is this a joke? And they're like, well, they played without Isaiah Thomas. The Cavaliers were 2-0 against them when Isaiah Thomas was healthy. They were also beating the crap out of the Raptors when Kyle Lowry was healthy. It wouldn't have mattered. And I go, let's talk about Portland with Golden State. Portland's starting center was out. Okay, let's talk about the Spurs series. Tony Parker didn't play. Kawhi Leonard left. They were also without David Lee. What did you want how do you not put an asterisk next to that? And if you're putting asterisks next to championships, they're also mentioning, well, you put an asterisk next year because Draymond Green didn't play Game 5 and Steph Curry wasn't healthy. Steph Curry played in all 7 games of that series. Steph Curry also played in all 7 games of the Oklahoma City series. He was healthy. I don't care what people say. He didn't have any surgery in the offseason. He was fine. Steph Curry also had some really good games in the finals. Don't tell me he wasn't healthy. The Cavaliers just were better, and Golden State was beat up towards the end. That's what happens.
Well,
Cleveland was the healthier team. And let me finish here. And 2 years ago, how do you not give Golden State an asterisk when you beat a team when the Cavaliers took you to 6 games when they didn't have Kyrie Irving or Kevin Love?
Yeah, that's the asterisk right there, and that's why this rubber match is so important, and that's why the Warriors, who's the guy on the Warriors that's running his mouth now that it's personal against Cleveland, and he wants Cleveland, and it's their owner?
The owner, Joe LaCob?
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know, is that a bad move in your mind, or who cares?
I don't, here's the thing. Every time you piss off LeBron James, what does he come and do?
He reminds you. Who's the lion in the forest? He reminds you.
Exactly. He's not someone I want to piss off. Why don't you just, you would think these idiots learned last year. Well, I guess he just got his feelings hurt. What did Cleveland do? They reeled off 3 straight.
Yeah. Tweeting out baby emojis. Yeah, that wasn't a good idea. So I'll take it. I'm fine with that. But then Tyronn Lue said that the Celtics are harder to guard than the Warriors. That might not be a good look.
No.
But I know what they're saying. It's
they can come at you from all angles.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think the Celtics just had to quickly reinvent themselves, and I think to put an intention into Coach Lou's head, into his words there. I just don't think he knew what to prepare for. He didn't know how they were going to adapt, and they did a lot of different things that they weren't ready to see. So
I also, don't forget, Boston beat us by 3 points with Marcus Smart having the game of his life. He shot 70% from three-point land. He was 7 for 10. He had an unbelievable game. Is he going to replicate that again? No. We watched him, what he did last night. The Cavaliers let him shoot last night. He wasn't able to emulate the performance he had the night before. Couldn't do it. It just, very rarely do guys have that game like, he's not Steph Curry. He's not Kyrie Irving. He's Marcus Smart. He has not been, this is the guy that was the projected number 1 overall pick a few years ago in the draft and decided to stay in school. Don't forget, instead of Anthony Bennett, he would have been the number 1 overall pick, most likely.
Oh, okay.
He stayed in school and then came out a year later, and was a 6th pick.
Good point. Okay.
So, I'm not saying Marcus is a bad player. He's a good defender. He's very young and he's raw, but you see his potential. You see his potential and what he can do, and I think we witnessed it. Boston has a lot of Boston's roster over the next few years. It's very interesting to see what they have the ability to do. They've got the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft. They've got plenty of cap space, and they also have arguably another top 3 pick in next year's draft in a very talented draft. If you're Boston, do you go sit there and you draft a guy like Fultz? Do you trade the pick? If I'm Boston, I don't go and I trade for Paul George or Jimmy Butler. I think that's foolish. I think it's foolish on their end because I still don't think one of those guys puts them above Cleveland, even healthy. I think Isaiah Thomas is a great regular season player, but he's one of those guys in the playoffs. The Cavaliers are a team that just bullies him. I think Boston in the playoff series, and don't get me wrong when I say this, I think Boston is better off without him in a type of series like this. Now they would need him for some offensive use. However, he's such a liability defensively. Imagine Kyrie Irving weaving through Isaiah Thomas last night.
Oh yeah.
It would have been 100 times worse.
Yeah, Kyrie was unreal yesterday. I want to talk about Uncle Drew in a second, but maybe mixed out in the wash here a little bit. Kevin Love. Is this the best version of Kevin Love that Kevin Love has ever put on a basketball floor?
Here's the thing. Don't forget, it's like they said it last night. I think they did. I'm trying to think where I heard it. Said, it's like Kevin Love's stats never meant anything in Minnesota because he didn't win.
Yeah, these are playoff games, and these are the first minutes that really, really count. The last.
Last
seasons.
night he had 17. I think he was at 17 and 17.
Yeah, that's a killer stat line.
He ate up all the boards last night. He was just dominating the boards all night. He did what he needed to do. He came in there and he cleaned the glass. We couldn't have asked for anything more than that.
Well, because they were focusing so much on Tristan also. But that's the thing. You put Kyle Korver out there, he doesn't take a shot, but he stretches the floor so far that it opens up the space for Kyrie or LeBron to get in there.
It got to a point, though, and that's why Cleveland's so dangerous. When Cleveland's able to drive, when you've got LeBron and Kyrie and the ability to drive to the hoop, they're basically unstoppable when they're on their A game because Cleveland's offense, they can kick it out for a three-pointer at any point, too.
Mm-hmm.
You have guys that can shoot the three. Kevin Love plays such a different role than he did in Minnesota. It's like the same thing. Oh, is Chris Bosh regressed? Is Chris Bosh not that good? What we witnessed as soon as LeBron left, Chris Bosh reverted back to his old form. It was a top 15 player in the league again.
Hey, he just got released, or they worked out some sort of buyout contract.
I'm going to tell you this.
On the Cavs.
Don't be surprised. I wouldn't even, part of me thinks that Dwayne Wade's going to sit there and pick up his option this year to go back to the Bulls just because it's for so much money.
Yeah.
But the other part of me believes I could see Dwayne Wade coming to Cleveland at the mid-level next year and coming back and playing with LeBron. It all depends. If he's willing to sacrifice the money at this point, I could totally see him playing for Cleveland.
Yeah, well, so you think Bosh too?
I would love to see it. Here's the thing, though. Bosh, don't forget, Bosh last year was a top 20 player in the NBA. We had an amazing season before the blood clot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Cavaliers are going to wind up with Bosh and Wade. It's highly unlikely. But in the unlikely chance they do, and you can assemble the big three from the Heat, you get the Heatles back together, it would definitely be a cool storyline to pair them up with Irving and Love. another super team to take on the Warriors. It would be fun as hell to watch.
If Kevin Durant's going to go over there to the Warriors, it's all bets are off.
Seriously.
I got no problem listening to the rest of the league complaining about it. We're trying to keep pace with those guys and what they're doing over there. I wanted to ask, keeping pace with the Warriors, even as the champs, a lot of people still see the Warriors as the favorites. How much better – okay, two-part question. Are the Cavs better this year than they were last year?
It's hard to say. Do I think that Kevin Love is better? Yes. Do I think that LeBron James has been better in the playoffs? Yes. And I think Kyrie Irving, for Kyrie Irving to do what he did last year in the last couple games of the finals is very difficult. If he can put up similar performance he did in the last 3 games of the finals, the Cavaliers have a very good shot at winning.
Yeah.
A very good shot. I will say this. I don't even want to say this, that you have to take one of the games in Golden State. But it's nice to, so you don't have to win 4 out of the next 5 like they did a year ago.
Yeah, it's a different way of looking at it. It's not. You don't have to be completely perfect. You just have to be a little better than 50-50.
You don't ever want to go down 0-2 because then you got to win 4 of the next 5.
Yeah.
You have very little margin for error. If you at least swipe one of the first, okay, we've got home court advantage.
Yeah, it changes it. Which
3
I
out
still
of the next
think.
5 are at home.
Which I still think the Indians having home field advantage cost them the World Series. I think the Cubs probably would have choked it away at home. But that's what my gut tells me.
You know what? We lost. If they're really meant to be there again, they're meant to win it all. It reminds me a lot of the Kansas City thing from 3 years ago. Kansas City lost the World Series at first against, San Francisco. And they came back, and I think, they beat the Mets a year later? They're perfectly capable of winning the World Series this year. They have a roster if the pitching gets together. I don't want to get off topic. However, but, the Indians have a chance to repeat as AL champs. It's going to be difficult. It always will be. Baseball. It's a totally different sport than basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It's the hottest team wins. It's not always the best team. And, the Cubs don't look like they're going to repeat as champs this year. They just don't look that good. I'm not saying they're not a good team, but they just don't look that good right now.
Tribe's only like 4 games above 500 as well.
Don't forget, last year we were 17-17.
And then we didn't lose for like 2 months straight.
They turned it on in June.
Yeah.
They didn't turn it on before. Then they're starting to play good ball now. They just swept the best team in the American League in the Astros.
Yeah, and we're getting Corey Kluber back. But, my question about the Cavs, though, with mm-hmm. Kyrie Irving, 2 things. Was Kevin, before I get to Kyrie Irving, was Kevin Love's touchdown pass the best touchdown pass ever thrown in the NBA? Have you ever seen a better one than the one that LeBron clanked out of the rim?
The way to LeBron with the layup was pretty sick, too.
It was.
They were both really good. There's been some unbelievable ones, especially with Kevin Love. He's a hell of a quarterback.
It's so great to watch that. I grew up my whole life. I've watched basketball, and there's not too many people that do that ever have done that. It's very hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering if that was the best touchdown pass ever. Too bad the wide receiver dropped it. But where would you rank Kyrie Irving's fake behind the back spin?
That was one of the top 10 plays I've ever seen. I was just like, oh. I was like, oh.
Just filthy.
Just in disgust. I was like, oh my God, was that pure filth? I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a defensive player, but you can't read. How do you read that play?
Well, he was going to pass it. He was going to, and he changed his mind. Love was there.
I'm serious when I say, how do you replicate that play? Because I'm not asking that. How do you how do you defensively play that play? Because do I keep going at Kyrie, and he's gonna potentially he's gonna pass the ball, and there's gonna be an open 3-pointer. Or do I take on? There's really no way to play that play defensively.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest plays I've ever seen. He has that ability to just go right at a defender like that. Don't forget those guys, Jaylen Brown, Jay Crowder, and Avery Bradley. They're no slouches on defense. You're talking about 3 of the better defensive players in the league.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown's going to be a very, very good player in this league someday. I don't know if he's ever going to be a dynamic scorer, but he's definitely going to be a great defensive player who can get 2 offensive rebounds. He's going to be a good player. You don't need Jaylen Brown necessarily to be a 20-point guy at night. That's what you're drafting a guy like Fultz for at number one. And that's what you've got the number one overall pick for next year. That's why you can draft that's why you can sign Gordon Hayward in free agency. Boston does have some options. If I'm Boston right now, if I'm Danny Ainge, I'm starting to package away a lot of my role players like Houston did and package them away for a potential superstar, what the Houston Rockets did to get James Harden.
Yeah, trading quarters for dollars.
Yep. If a team will do that for you.
Right.
If you can do that and you can pull the trigger on that, some teams will do that. Because Avery Bradley's walking into the final year of his deal. Should the Celtics have maybe traded him this year and gotten a piece for him while he still had value? I just don't know what they're going to be able to get from him next year. And are you going to overpay a guy like Avery Bradley in the free agent market next year, and you're going to have to give him $25 million a year?
Oh, $25 million a year for Avery Bradley? Was that the number?
Alan Crabb got close to 20. I mean, it's like, remember when I told you the Cavaliers when they signed Tristan?
But it was a deal.
I said it was a bargain.
Yeah. Yeah, just wait 1 year and it'll be deemed as an enormous
because Tristan would have gotten even more last year on the market.
Yeah, absolutely.
He would have gotten even more, and it would have been disastrous for the Cavs to lose him. I mean, Tristan Thompson is one of the most underrated players of all time. He goes in the regular season, you don't hear much about him. And then come playoff time, when you start to realize how good he really is, when he's pulling down 5 to 8 offensive rebounds a game, you're like, okay, this guy literally just gave our team 12 second chance points.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't have had otherwise with anybody else in here. Yeah, he's an undersized center, but Tristan Thompson is a star in his own way. He doesn't do it by scoring 25, 30 points a game, ever. We've never witnessed an offensive outbreak from Thompson. I mean, we have. I think he's had 29 points in a game, I remember, 30 points here and there. But that's not Tristan. He never developed a jump shot, but you don't need him to. That's what I'm getting at. You don't need Tristan to develop a jump shot.
He can take a few dribbles, and he can make some stuff happen under there. You see it a couple
very
times
good around
a game.
the hoop. He's very efficient. He shoots high percentage shots.
Yeah.
And that's what you want him doing. You don't need him to sit out there. You don't need him putting up 25 a game to win. He's a fourth option offensively or even a fifth option offensively for a reason. But, the guy still averages about 10 points a game, but he is one of the best rebounders I've ever seen, especially come playoff time. And you witness that, what he did against what he was able to do against the Warriors last year, what he was able to do last year against the Toronto Raptors. He really is a vital asset for this team. And I can't necessarily say if the Cavaliers would have selected Klay Thompson over him, would we be better off? I don't know. Klay Thompson's a great shooter, but would the Cavaliers be better off without Tristan Thompson, with any of those players from the draft, other than Kawhi Leonard?
So it's interesting. You think about comparing who's on the Cavs and who's on the Warriors. You go, all right, well, would you rather have LeBron or Steph Curry? Would you rather have Kyrie or Kevin Durant? Would you rather have Tristan or Klay? Would you rather have Kevin Love or Draymond?
Well, I think you need to compare them by position. So I would go, would you rather have Kyrie or would you rather have Steph Curry? Would you rather have LeBron or Durant? Would you rather have Draymond or Thompson or Draymond or Love? Would you rather have JaVale McGee or instead of Tristan Thompson? Or, you have to take a look at it by position. So you're not going completely out of order. Don't forget, Steph Curry's 4 years older than Kyrie Irving.
I do forget that, actually.
Let's not forget that they're very similar at that age. Kyrie Irving could turn into the next. He could be just as good as Steph Curry someday. I'm not saying he won't be. Because we've witnessed at points when they go head-to-head, a lot of times Irving's been the better player, especially last year in the finals. Mm-hmm. And in Game 1 of the 2015 finals, Kyrie Irving was the better player.
He was awesome until he got hurt.
Before he went down at the end of Game 1, which was an unavoidable injury. I mean, it was bone on bone at that point.
Yeah.
He was going down no matter what. Even if that game wouldn't have gone to overtime, let's say Shump would have made the shot, he would have gone down at the beginning of Game 2. There was no way he could have. I mean, he was hurt all throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, he was.
Don't forget he barely played in the Bulls series. I don't even know if he played in the Hawks series or if he did. He played like one game. The Cavaliers were playing very beat up all playoffs, and LeBron drove them to the finals and won 2 games. Don't forget, if they would have won that Game 1, there would have been a chance I don't know if they would have won Game 2 at that point, but you could have been going up 3-0 on the Warriors. Granted, I think they were completely out of gas where they would have blown a 3-0 lead even if they would have won Game 1. They were just so gassed.
Well, that's the thing about LeBron's performance in Game 3. Was he gassed, or, like we like to do at the New American Media and the Unhappy Hour especially, we bring in Don Cheadle as our mascot for all things conspiracy related. The theory that LeBron knows they're going to have to... LeBron knows that it is very possible that for the Cavs to win, they're going to have to win a closeout game on the road, or they're definitely going to at least have to take one in Golden State's Oracle Arena. They wanted another chance to win.
5 and 7 in Oracle. Winning on the road for the Cavs is not a problem. We've witnessed it. That was a problem LeBron's first stage in Cleveland. We could not win on the road in big games, really, again, like his last 2 years here. We couldn't win in Orlando, and we couldn't win in Boston on the road.
But that, you don't think that's the case.
We also lost another one at home. We couldn't make up for it like they do now. If they lose a home game, it doesn't even matter. Because don't forget, the Warriors don't lose at home. Yet the Warriors lost. We took them to overtime of Game 1. We won Game 2 of the finals 2 years ago. And last year they won Games 5 and 7 on the road after getting trounced in Games 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. So you're not buying the conspiracy theory? You think he was sick, or you just think he had played a...
Brian, I'm telling you, I've been to too many games over the last couple of years, and I've seen LeBron play too many times in person. I even saw him play when he was in Miami in person. I was down at the AAA. I watched him play. Multiple times. I watched LeBron play on the road multiple times when he was in Miami as well. Mm-hmm. He's, the only time I've ever seen him that passive was in the Dallas series.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting one too. But so it's either fatigue or conspiracy.
I don't think it was fatigue. I think he was genuinely sick.
Okay.
I just don't buy him being tired. It's not LeBron. I really don't buy him being tired, and I don't believe he purposely blew the game for Cleveland. I seriously believe he must have been very, very sick, and that was why he didn't. That was why he was so bad.
Well, I guess maybe we'll find out when the season's all over. Who knows? Maybe he'll get asked about it. We'll find something else. All right, well, here we go, Zach. Let's wrap this up. Let's go to prediction time. Going on the road. Cavs could not close it out in 4, so we're going back for Game 5 in Boston. What do you see happening?
There better not be a Game 6. I don't want to have to pay for tickets.
It sounds fair.
The finals deposit was already a little much.
I can imagine.
So I'm going. I want to say the Cavaliers will take Game 5 in Boston. I think that stole all the momentum from Boston in the second half.
Yeah, I think so too. How far did your heart sink when Kyrie went down with the tweaked ankle?
I literally just looked at it and I said, Brian, I'm telling you the words that came out of my mouth. It was a 4-letter word that started with an F and rhymed with fire truck.
It
rhymed with truck. It rhymed with truck. Fire in there.
I covered my eyes and I had to take a few seconds. I was very concerned at that moment. I was very.
I literally
concerned.
just looking at him. I'm like, and I was like, this cannot be happening. This cannot happen.
His comeback was superhuman. His comeback after that,
I love how he just tied his shoes and got up.
But what was it? And it said something cool on his shoes too. It had some sort of.
I forgot what it said on the shoes, but I mean, it was honestly, it was one of those games where just like
Superman game.
We had the worst first half they could have possibly played. They're down by 16 at one point, and they come back and they win by 13. They were plus 29 since the middle of the second quarter.
Well, and Al Horford and some of these guys, they're banking in 3-pointers. They
had a bunch of lucky shots too, and with LeBron being in foul trouble, LeBron wasn't in foul trouble. The Cavaliers probably won by 25.
No.
I mean, Olynyk was taking open shots. I mean.
Yeah, please.
I mean, at one point, I was just like, are you kidding me? Boston's just getting so lucky with their shots. They're not this good. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jerebko, are you kidding me?
Well, him and LeBron almost got into it, so. Yeah, who knows? We'll see how it goes. I did see one play where Tristan threw Kelly Olynyk down by the shoulder. Say that again?
LeBron creates a new rival every series. Or there's always some jackass who comes at LeBron every series, whether it's this series, it's Jonas or Jerebko. In the I forgot who it was in the Raptors series, but it's always someone new every year. Like a year ago, it was Bismack Biyombo. Then it was also Stanley Johnson. There's always someone who takes the wrong player takes a shot at LeBron, and then LeBron winds up going off. You had Stevenson do it this year. You had Lance Stevenson doing it again this year.
Yeah.
And LeBron went off on him. I mean, it's one thing after another. These guys love pissing off LeBron James and getting in his ear. I mean, and then he just goes and dominates them.
Well, good. I'm okay with that. As long as we dominate. So you say we close it out in 5. I say we close it out in 5.
I think they close it out in 5 now. I do.
All right. And do you think this is going to have any impact on the rest and the health for the finals?
They're still going to get a week off. We don't even start till June 2nd.
Jeez.
You're looking tomorrow's May 25th, Brian.
Okay.
With an extended weekend, you've got the 31st of this month. That's 7-8 days off.
Well, provided we can take care of business, so let's hope we can.
I think they will.
Well, because LeBron was saying that they probably had too much time off in between, so that was where that theory was kind of generated
from. The thing, it's just, let these guys get ready for the next round. Let them do what they have to do, and hopefully Golden State comes out rusty. You don't get, these are the 2 best teams in basketball. Yeah. There's very, very little margin for error, as we witnessed last year in the finals. Very, very little margin for error. Cleveland and Boston, I believe they were tight in game 1, or I think it was game 1 of the series. They were actually playing tight basketball. And all of a sudden, Golden State just went off on them, and they wound up going on, a 10-12-0 run, and the game was suddenly over in the fourth quarter. Went from being a close game all night where the Cavaliers weren't making shots to just the game being over. And after game 2, you're like, this series, like you're sitting there going, wow, we aren't even in the same league as this team. And then you go to game 3, and it was like, okay, we beat them by 30 points. Maybe we are in the same league. And then game 4, again, Cavaliers, they weren't hitting their shots. They weren't in straight all night. And then Golden State took over in the fourth quarter, and they won it. Game 5, it was like, first half, it was like, okay, it's back and forth. Golden State taking the lead. What did the Cavs do? Cavaliers pulled away in the third quarter. Golden State couldn't make their shots. Irving just went off. Suddenly we got a 3-2 series. Game 6 going in there, I knew the Cavaliers were going to dominate them in game 6. I just had that feeling going in there. I'd never been more confident in my life going into game 6. Going, okay, we're going to take the series. Like, I know we're not going home tonight. This is going to 7 games. I knew that. And Golden State played piss poor. Curry shot terribly. The Cavaliers jumped out to, what was it? They had a 15-point lead in the first quarter of that game. They had a 15-point lead in the first quarter of the game. Not one of the first 6 games was close. Yet they had the same points scored, same points allowed for each team.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite stats from that whole series.
It was a 0 margin, and yet there wasn't one close game. Yeah. That just proved how even the teams were. They could go and beat the crap out of each other any night, because when one of them's making their shots and the other one's not, it's over.
Do you agree with Max Kellerman? I heard him earlier today. He was saying that the best team always wins a 7-game NBA series every time. The best team always wins a 7-game series. I will tell you, the
healthiest team wins a 7-game series every time. I'm telling you that. Who was healthier last year, the Cavs or the Warriors? The Cavs were healthier. Cavs were in there as a healthier team. Bogut was out for the Warriors the last few games. Cavaliers had that. They were healthier. You could just tell. Look at Game 7. The Cavaliers had much more energy than them. They were more focused. Golden State didn't make a shot for 5 minutes. When was the last time you saw Golden State not make a shot for 5 minutes in a game?
The Cavs too. Nobody was scoring for that 5 minutes. That was crazy.
But I'm saying though, the Cavaliers won it down the stretch. They had the better player that could finish them off, and they did it. The year before, who was a healthier team? Were the Warriors necessarily better than the Cavs? No, but were they healthier? Yes. It comes down to usually if both teams are healthy in a 7-game series, which I fully expect them to be going into this one. And I don't care about Zaza Pachulia. He doesn't count. If the Cavaliers walk in there at full health like they've been throughout the playoffs, and Golden State walks in there at full health like they've been throughout the playoffs, it's going to be one hell of a series.
Where have we got any updates on Kyrie's ankle?
I don't have anything right now, but as far as I know, he's playing tomorrow night.
Okay, good. Well, then we'll see how it plays out. All right, well, Zach, let's wrap it up for today. Let's just say go Cavs. Very close.
Yep.
I can't get too excited. The Indians, Cubs, the 3-1 Warrior jokes. We're up 3-1, but it's really important that we take care of business. I think it could be great that it's on the road, and it'll just give us another opportunity to go silence them. That'll come in handy in the next round for that championship.
I'd love to beat them. I just get this gut feeling. I had it last year that we walked into the finals and we were going to win the finals last year. I just had that feeling going in there that we were going to win it last year. I have the same feeling as I had last year when they beat Toronto, going, okay, yeah, you have a very, very confident Golden State Warriors team, very confident, a little too cocky sometimes. Cleveland has a chance to win this. When you have the best player in the world, who can literally nobody scares him. And when he's on his A game, the Cavaliers are unbeatable when LeBron is LeBron. Let's remember that. And if LeBron is LeBron 4 out of the 7 games in that series, and he gets help from his players, from his 2 stars and from his role players, the Cavaliers will win that series. I'm not saying it's going to be Cavs in 4, Cavs in 5, even Cavs in 6. I'm saying this is going to be a hard-fought series between 2 really, really, really good basketball teams.
And this is like some of those classic Ali fights of the 70s or 80s or something. These are 2 heavyweights duking it out, and hey, but look, we got to get there first. So let's do this. We'll pause it for now. The final point I was going to make was just that we saw that Kyrie can also be LeBron too. He can also be a guy that takes over an entire game.
Kyrie has that ability, and again, he showed it for Game 7 in the finals last year. He showed it for Game 5. Showed it for Game 6. He has the ability to take over a game, and when he plays like that, the Cavaliers are unbeatable when he plays like that. We've witnessed it.
And he's a potential future MVP of the league. We'll see how his career goes. And you're right, he's young. I keep forgetting how young he is.
He's 25. Let's not forget. Ooh. Don't forget, Steph Curry hadn't been at that point when he was 25 yet. Steph Curry didn't hit a game-winning shot in the NBA Finals.
Well, Kyrie hit like the most pressure-filled, most impactful last-second play, game-winning play.
I'm not taking anything away from Steph Curry. I'm not.
No, how can he? He did what he did.
But Steph Curry is a great player, and I think, but I think there's no reason to think Kyrie Irving can't be as good as him. He's also 4 years younger. Don't forget, in 2 years from now, Steph Curry made his first finals at 27. Let's see what Kyrie is in 2 years from now. Let's see how good he is. Because as LeBron starts to possibly fade, I'm not saying he will, but if LeBron does start to possibly fade, this is Kyrie Irving's chance to take over and become the go-to guy on that team and let LeBron do what he needs to do in order to become, in order to be a, just as good of a teammate as he is, and for them not to lose a step.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You just play different roles.
And again, I want to harp on this for a second. Everybody going nuts about the Cavaliers losing David Griffin. I don't believe he's going to leave Cleveland. I just can't. Dan Gilbert's paid up every time, whether it's the last minute. He's always paid up. He's always paid his guys.
Wait, didn't Orlando sign their guy?
Yeah, but now Milwaukee's interested. Don't think for 1 second that the Cavaliers are going to lose David Griffin. I'd be blown away if they did. And I'd be blown away if David Griffin left Cleveland to go to Milwaukee.
All right, fair point. I just wonder how many more moves the Cavs could have up their sleeves.
Joel, you're going to see something this offseason. I don't know what it's going to be, but people are like, I don't think Gilbert will pay the repeaters tax. You trust me, as long as LeBron's here and this puts him in the finals, Gilbert's paying the repeat tax every year. He got the arena deal approved. His team is worth more and more money the better they are. Don't think for 1 second they're going to sit there and take a step back in the middle or the end of LeBron's prime, the last 3 or 4 or 5 years they have of LeBron. They will be paying that luxury repeaters tax every year, no matter how high it gets.
Well, isn't that what Reinsdorf?
He's got the money to do it.
Isn't that kind of what Reinsdorf was? Wasn't he getting a little
want
too?
To pay the tax.
A little too penny pinching and kind of help break that team apart.
You cannot win. I mean, listen. We watched Clay Bennett lose Kevin Durant because of the whole thing. Being cheap and getting rid of a guy like James Harden was the stupidest move you could have made. But that wasn't – I'm not going to blame Sam Presti for getting rid of James Harden. I'll blame him for making a bad trade. However, from higher-ups, they did not want to pay James Harden. They didn't want to give James Harden $15, $16 million a year.
No.
They didn't want to be paying Ibaka, Westbrook, and Durant, all those guys. If you look at if they would have kept James Harden, that team would probably have 3 rings by now.
So interesting to think about.
Instead, what they do, they're now on the luxury tax. They wound up spending that money on Enes Kanter instead, who's a very good role player, but Enes Kanter's not a star.
Not enough of a difference maker.
No, they spent all this money on other players, and where did it get them?
Yeah, same place.
It didn't get them anywhere. So instead you wind up losing Durant. You never got that championship. And Oklahoma City's run, for the most part, they don't have any money in free agency this year to go out and get a Gordon Hayward. Getting Blake Griffin would be very, very, very difficult unless someone's willing to eat Cantor's contract, which I don't see happening. And now Oklahoma City sitting there, and they're about to pay Westbrook over $200 million to stay, which is great, but they need another superstar to bring in with Russell Westbrook. And they don't have any assets to go and trade to pair him with a star. I mean, Westbrook's going to be one of those guys that could be in Oklahoma City for the rest of his career. I always pictured him leaving, but I guess, he might stay. I mean, cheers to him if he stays. Great job. I could also see if Chris Paul bolts, I could see him going to the Clippers and going home and playing in LA.
Yeah.
I really don't know what's going to happen.
The offseason is fun. The offseason's a lot of fun, a lot of moves. When is the draft? How soon is that?
Isn't it? I believe every year it's the end of June. It's always June 30th. It's always the last weekend of June.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what the Celtics are going to do.
It's always the last Thursday night of June.
Okay. All right.
But they're going to take Fultz, though. Eventually we can do a draft preview show. Because, I mean, it's interesting also, again, to see, the future of the LA Lakers is a big deal, too. Do they go and take Lonzo Ball, or are you sitting there going and trading that pick for Paul George when you get a year of Paul George, or you could wait a year for him in free agency? The Lakers have a lot of decisions to make, too. Do you want to deal with LeVar Ball?
I would not. That would be a deal breaker for me, as unfortunate as that is. We saw Johnny Manziel in Cleveland. When the circus comes to town, I just don't
Here's
like it.
Here's the thing, though. Lonzo's not the one with the problem. It's his arrogant prick father is the one with the problem. It's not Lonzo.
I know.
But the problem is dad talks too much. You got to keep him away. You can't give him a courtside seat. You can't, you got to put him where you put the parents. You got to put him in Cleveland, like when they put them in 128 behind the bench off to the side. A lot of times, it's like Kyrie's dad and his sister sit 5 rows behind the Cavs bench. LeBron's mom sits 3 rows behind the bench. You wouldn't know Gloria attended a game, though, in LeBron's second tenure with the Cavs. Would you?
In the first 10 we remember.
On TV.
You're right. No, she's not a part of it. But the first tenure, what was that? Kevin Durant?
She was sitting on a floor seat. She had a floor seat.
Lesson learned.
She had a floor seat next to Todd Lebo, right there on the floor.
Yeah.
Right there on the floor. She was there right next to the basket. Always in his hair. Miami's the one who put a stop to that. And Cleveland was smart this time. You see the whole family. I sat next to them two years ago at the finals, 127 row 3. I still see them at all the games. She comes with the whole contingency. The whole family's there in 127 row 3. Irving's in 127 row 5. Kevin Love's family has floor seats. His manager sits on the floor. They sit floor. But it's different. You don't see them. I mean, it's also his manager and it's his girlfriend and her mom. I haven't seen Kevin Love's parents sitting courtside, though. It's different. So, really with Lonzo Ball in LA, you don't want to give LeVar the spotlight being with the Lakers. It's just a huge mistake.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any guarantee that they take him. I think he's a great facilitator. I think his jump shot, though, in the NBA, it could be great and he could be a great player, but his jump shot's a very slow release, which could make hell for him in the NBA.
Yeah, all those little things that can get you through in college, they'll come back to bite you big time in the pros. With college quarterbacks all the time. They're great there, but...
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, again, and I've watched LiAngelo play his middle brother, and he's not even that good. I don't understand what the hype is about LiAngelo. I mean, I would have him rated as a 3-star prospect based on what I've seen. Some people have him rated as a 5-star. Some people have him rated as a 3-star. I think he's more of a 3.5-star prospect. He does not. I don't see him being the next star at UCLA. Now LaMelo on the offensive end, going to be a great player, but the kid does not play any defense.
Well, once again, we got quite a few years to deal with that, and we'll see what Magic and his primetime Lakers do with their pick. Part of me is kind of happy they kept the pick. Since the other part of me doesn't really care because it's not my franchise. But it will be interesting to watch what happens.
It's fun.
With that
it's
ball
fun
player.
to watch the Lakers suck, though. I will say that.
It has been enjoyable. Let's see if the Cavs can get a few more championships and balance it out a little bit more.
I'd love to see that, but it is fun to hear my LA friends bitch going, "Oh my God, we haven't seen the Lakers so bad in forever." It's like, I go, great, now you know what it's like to be a Clevelander.
Yeah, a LA sports guy really wanted to sign Kyrie Irving in that offseason.
Want to send LeBron James too and Kevin Love.
I love it. All right, Zach, I appreciate your time, and we will talk again soon.
Brian.
To be continued, buddy.
Bye.
All right, peace. All right, everyone. That we're just ending it right there. Got to run. Got to do a few things. Cavs are up 3-1. Hopefully we can wrap this up. Follow Zach on Twitter. He's at Z Baris. That's ZBARIS. And our show is the Unhappy Hour. And this is LeBron as Chief Wahoo. Or something. All right. Go Cavs. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace.